Jeff Brohm confirms that he is not leaving Louisville, which is exciting for the program and the fan base. But there's something about that announcement that should encourage you even more.
You are Locked On Louisville, your daily podcast on the Louisville Cardinals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Card Nation, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into this Friday edition of the Locked On Louisville podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Pence. This is my 6th year covering UFL, 4th year hosting this show. Of course, Locked On Louisville is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the world. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Got a lot of stuff to discuss on the final episode of the week. Some bowl game discussion. Where do the experts have the Cardinals playing in the postseason? We will discuss some bowl game possibilities. Men's basketball back in action against Indiana on Saturday. This is a great opportunity for Pat Kelsey's team to bounce back following that Arkansas loss. We'll tell you what needs to happen for the Cardinals in that matchup with the Hoosiers, but we'll start out with the major football news. And we would have talked about this on yesterday's show, but we had the signing day reactions and the Louisville, Arkansas basketball recap. But Jeff Brohm confirms he's not going anywhere. Insert the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, I'm not leaving clip into my veins. Jeff Brohm is not going anywhere, which is what we've already thought and maybe known for the past couple of months. Pete Thamel released a report on Wednesday stating, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have it in front of me, but paraphrasing that Jeff Brohm told Louisville officials that he's going to remain with the program. Pat Forty stated that sources told him that Jeff Brohm turned down Penn State and then decided to return back to Louisville. So seemed like there was legitimate interest from Penn State, but kind of confirms what we've already known. Jeff Brohm wasn't going anywhere. As long as he got what he wanted, which, remember when I mentioned in the opener just a couple minutes ago that there's something about this announcement that should encourage you even more than the fact that he's coming back? We'll discuss that here in just a moment. Bear with me for just 1 second. But this is obviously huge news with how wild the coaching carousel has gone right now, with all of the top group of 5 coaches taking better jobs, with how wild the carousel has been. Will Stein goes to Kentucky, Brian Hartline going to South Florida. Like, the top coordinators that were rumored in these jobs have also taken positions. You didn't want to have to be the program that needed a head coach in early December because the options probably would have been limited. But you got Jeff Brohm, the Louisville native that the fans knew he wasn't going anywhere because we understood the context. We knew the journey that Brohm took just to get back to Louisville. Let's look at an article from Jody Demling of 24/7 Sports Cardinal Authority site. His article reads this: one source told Cardinal Authority that Brohm, quote unquote, wouldn't do that to the program he loves. That highlights what we know. Several sources pointed out that Brohm wouldn't leave Purdue after 2 years to come home to U of L, so there's no way he was leaving home after 3 years for another job. Louisville fans knew that as well. It's wild how disconnected the local side of things were with the national reporting. Now, look, I understand that there may be a couple different reasons why Brohm's name was linked with Penn State. But Forty's report suggests that there was legitimate interest from Penn State, and Brohm turned them down. That's why when we got on here on, what was it, Wednesday or so, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I'm not sure which day it is. My days are running together at the moment. We talked about the tweet out there that said that Brohm would almost certainly accept the job to Penn State. That just was bad intel. That was your intel. That was bad intel. That wasn't happening. But that wasn't the only quote-unquote report. There were multiple reports over the past couple of months. Even when Louisville beat Miami right after that, it was like, okay, well, Louisville or Jeff Brohm in Penn State, Jeff Brohm in Florida. It's a blessing that his name it's a blessing and a curse that his name is thrown in the mix with some of these jobs. It's a curse because you don't want to see him leave. It's a blessing because that means he's doing something pretty good. Now, the 3-game losing streak might have halted extension talk, but you know that with the victory over Kentucky, the talks were going to be resumed. And even though we felt pretty good about him returning, it's nice to hear him directly address the rumors and confirm to Louisville officials that he's not going anywhere. So that's obviously nice to hear for multiple different reasons. You have the continuity. You've got the first family, the Brohm family in the city of Louisville. They're staying. If you understood the context, like from a national media perspective, if a national media member understood how much this program, this city means to Brohm and his family, then you probably wouldn't have bothered putting his name in the mix for some of these jobs. But I will highlight this point. I said it this past week. I'll say it again. An agent's job is to get their client what they want, whether that is an extension, a raise, more NIL money, more staff money, whatever it may be. It could be a combination of all those. An agent's job at the end of the day is to get their client what they want. Use the leverage that you have. And I would say opinion, this isn't reporting, this is opinion. I'll always separate the two and let you know. My opinion is that this was more so leverage than anything else, using the leverage to your advantage. Jeff Brohm never interviewed for another job this season. Don't listen to what people had to say about it. He did not. But the other aspect of this, I told you all to bear with me for the moment, and I would introduce it here in a couple minutes. Well, now's the time. What should encourage you most, maybe not most, what should it be more encouraging about this announcement than just the fact that he's coming back is what it means. This is what I've been told. I don't try to act like an insider. I had my days a couple of years ago where I tried to be an insider, made myself look foolish at times, was right a couple times, but just not what I... People that I've talked to that would know, this is what they've told me. Of course, Brohm is going to get a raise and an extension. But what one of the main priorities for Jeff Brohm was an increase in the NIL money pool so that he could compete not only for the conference, but to get to the playoffs. Well, look at one line down in the Jody Demling article. Quote unquote, one source said Louisville has told Brohm there would be more NIL money to work with moving forward. Writing's on the wall here, Card Nation. The program is getting more NIL money. Now, how much? I can't put a dollar amount on it. What I've been told is that it was a quote-unquote substantial amount more. Again, if I knew what that meant in terms of dollars and cents, I promise you I would tell you. It's not me withholding information. I just don't know. I think it really just depends. But it's awesome to see Louisville committing to not only Jeff Brohm, but to the sign of the times. It was like the technological boom when I was growing up. You either go with the flow or it's going to pass you up. Same thing is happening here with the NIL era or NIL/transfer portal era. So Jeff Brohm, it's not going anywhere. We knew this. I'm not sure why others didn't know this, but it was logical that Louisville was thrown into the mix with Brohm. I'm sorry, that Brohm was thrown into the mix with Penn State and some other jobs. But ultimately, he's not leaving. With that note that the extension is coming soon, I mean, I would say that it probably will come before the bowl game. Definitely before the new year, in my opinion. But I'm not worried about it. It's going to happen when it happens. But the increase in NIL money also needed to happen because if you want to consistently, heavy emphasis on that word, if you want to consistently be in contention for the ACC and to contend for a spot in the college football playoffs, you had to invest more in the NIL realm. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a bump in the staff pool as well. Just my intuition speaking there. But great news for Louisville. Jeff Brohm is staying home. To no one's surprise, but he is staying home. Let's go to the basketball side of things for the moment. Pat Kelsey's team back in action against Indiana on Saturday. We'll preview everything you need to know about that matchup and what Louisville really needs to do to win this game. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into Locked On Louisville, covering your team every day. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment, you name it. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. My Chargers were tied with the Las Vegas Raiders at halftime. And even though Vegas had all the momentum, I thought, well, Jim Harbaugh is going to have his guys ready for the second half. So I took the Chargers money line at halftime, which was at very good odds. And the Chargers ran away with it in the second half. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season like I am, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, so can you. Coordination, thank you all so much for making us your first listen of the day. Just a reminder, Locked On Louisville, free and available on all streaming services 5 days a week, including YouTube and TikTok, your team every day. Don't forget to leave a comment in the YouTube section below. Hit that subscribe button. Also, if you go to your YouTube page, if you watch this on YouTube, if you go to your user page, or if you go to your Spotify replay, you can check out your replay. And if Locked On Louisville is in your top podcast listens or watches, share it on social media. Tag us on Twitter at LO_Louisville or at DPence_. That would be a great way to help the show continue to grow. And thank you all to all the everydayers out there. If this is your first time tuning in, we're glad that you're here. You all have played a huge role in making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network on planet Earth. Let's break down some basketball. Cardinals back in action on Saturday. Quick turnaround. They're going to play at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, which is where the Pacers play up in Indianapolis. And they're going to take on the 22nd ranked Indiana Hoosiers, who are 7-1, along with Louisville. Both teams coming off of the first loss of the season. Indiana probably, now if they beat Louisville, maybe it's a conversation, but if Louisville beats Indiana, there's a good chance that the Hoosiers will not be ranked when Monday rolls around. But this is a great opportunity, regardless if they're ranked or not, for Louisville to bounce back. Remember the conversation we had on Tuesday about how if you lose to Arkansas, you don't have a bye game to get right. You have to immediately turn the page and focus on Indiana. You are trying to avoid a losing streak at all costs. This is why. Indiana is a good team. They're 7-1. They just lost to, I want to say it was Minnesota, was who they just lost to, 73-64. They were trailing for a good amount of this game. It was tied at halftime, but they ended up losing this game. Minnesota, not a great team to start out with. So looking at who Indiana's played, might be some cause for concern. Like, yes, they beat Marquette. Yes, they beat Kansas State, but those were the two best teams that they had played up until the Minnesota game. And then they lost at Minnesota. Now, this is technically a quote-unquote neutral site game. You're playing Indiana and Indianapolis, for crying out loud. There's going to be a lot of crimson there. Probably will be a good amount of Louisville red there as well. I will be in attendance for that game, but you know that there's probably going to be more Indiana fans, especially since Indiana plays Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship later that afternoon. Cardinals and Hoosiers square off at 2:15 p.m. Now, I will say that Louisville matches up much better against Indiana than they do Arkansas and Tennessee. The Hoosiers are similar to Louisville, more so than the Razorbacks and the Volunteers. You see a team that has their strength in the backcourt. I know Tucker DeVries is technically listed as a forward, but handles the ball a lot. He's a guard, in my opinion. This is a team whose strengths lie in the backcourt. They get production from the front court, but it's kind of it's a result of how good the backcourt plays. And it's a team that shoots a good amount of threes. So we saw Pat Kelsey square off with Darian DeVries last season in the battle for Atlantis. It was a thriller. Louisville got the victory. And you best believe that this is going to be another chess match between the two up-and-coming coaches. Looking at Indiana, they had to basically build their roster from scratch like Pat Kelsey had to do last year, but they had to do this year. Mike Woodson, no longer the coach. They hire Darian DeVries. He brings his son Tucker, who is now the leading scorer, 16.8 points a game, 5.1 rebounds, 3.4 assists. Most of the offense goes through him. He averages a team-high 32.3 minutes. They have 9 players that average over 10 minutes per game, so it's a rather deep rotation, but you've got 5 guys averaging in double digits. Lamar Wilkerson is the guard that I'm watching for the most here. Just under DeVries in averaging 6.5 points per game, 2.3 assists, 40% from 3. Remember when we talked about him in the offseason and how I wanted to see Louisville pursue him because he was a very good three-point shooter on pretty high volume? This is why. He's a player that can take over a game if you let him. Now they've got some other guys. Tayton Connerway, transfer from, I think it is Troy, if I'm not mistaken. You have freshman Trent Sisley. You've got Reed Bailey, who transferred over from Davidson. You also have Sam Alexis, who came over from Florida after 2 seasons with Chattanooga. So it's a relatively new roster that's playing together. But there's still some questions about how good Indiana is. Now, what we need to see Louisville do is what we didn't get to see them do for the majority of the game against Arkansas on Wednesday. This is an Indiana team that likes to pass the basketball around, move without the ball, share the wealth, and shoot a good amount of threes. For Louisville, the number one concern here is on-ball defense. They give up more open shots than you would like. Maybe it's a matchup thing, but you can't give Indiana that much room to shoot because they'll make you pay. They're shooting 37% from 3 this season. Their top 2 players, DeVries, 42% from 3. Wilkerson, 40.4% from 3. These are guys that can line it up. You also have to get your paint touches on offense. Michael Brown Jr., Ryan Conwell. This is the time to take it to the basket. Yes, Indiana's guards can be serviceable on defense, but I would imagine that Michael and Ryan are both going to be able to get downhill toward the rim and create some offense. What they need to do is get those paint touches, which in turn I believe will improve that shot selection. What I don't want to see on Saturday afternoon is Louisville bailing the defense out by taking a bunch of threes at the end of shot clocks. If you're open and you shoot it and you miss it, oh well. Shot's just not falling. But there has been a direct correlation between getting paint touches and good shot selection. Because when you drive the ball into the paint, what does it do? It opens up the lane for a dump down to Sinan DeFru, a pass to a cutting wing like Javon Hadley or Kenai Roots, or a kick out to an open shooter. So I don't think that loss against Arkansas is going to become the norm for this team. I just think they got punched in the mouth, and it took them a minute for them to punch back. It is what it is. First road game of the season, playing one of the more physical teams in the country, it's going to happen. But attacking the basket, improving the shot selection, moving the basketball. There were times against Arkansas where I just didn't know what Louisville was doing offensively. It was a bunch of ISO dribbling for 20 seconds and trying to throw up a desperation shot. find your shots, get those paint touches, improve the on-ball defense, and crash the boards and limit second chance opportunities. That's how you were successful against Kentucky. When you weren't successful, that's how you lost to Arkansas. Louisville playing Indiana, 2:15 Eastern time on Saturday up in Indianapolis at the Pacers Arena. I will be there. Hope to see more of Card Nation there as well. When we come back, we're going to shift back over to football because we're going to learn more about Louisville's postseason opponent coming up in the next couple of days. We'll take a look at what some of the experts have pinned for the Cardinals in terms of bowl game possibilities. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into Locked On Louisville, covering your team every day. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure things out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. I got something from Aura Frames last year for my grandparents, and they're huge sentimental people, and they loved all of the old pictures, and they love that you can have endless uploads of those pictures and even 30-second videos through the Aura app. So we just continue to add more and more memories, and it's going to be a gift that I get for another family member this holiday season as well. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named number 1 by Wirecutter by using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com with the promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Cardinals, when we come back on Monday, of course, we're going to break down the basketball game against Indiana, hopefully a bounce-back victory, and hopefully we will know what Louisville football's destiny is for their bowl game. What is going to be their fate? Who will they play? Where will they play? I will say this. For me, I'm excited for it. I still love bowl games, even though there are a good amount of people out there that don't care about them anymore because of the opt-outs, because of the college football playoffs. I get it. I'm not going to tell you how to fan. I just disagree. Like, I am still one of those people that say, you know what? You've earned it in the season. This is a reward. It's another game to watch your team play at the end of the day. So let's take a look at some bowl game possibilities. For me, personally, I like playing other Power 4 teams, especially ones that you don't get to play much. No disrespect to Group of 5 teams at all. I don't mean it that way. I am not going to be pissed off if they play a Group of 5 team, but I would much rather see them play a Power 4 team. Like last year for the Sun Bowl, they played Washington. 2023, the Holiday Bowl, they played USC. 2022, in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, they played Cincinnati. 2019, they played Mississippi State. 2015 was Texas A&M. 2017 was Mississippi State. Gosh, my memory's not serving me well. 2021, they played Air Force. But regardless, you understand what I'm saying. I would much rather Louisville play against a Power 4 team. Now, we're already learning some fates of teams out there. Like, bowl games are starting to be announced. Will we hear about Louisville's closer to Saturday? Will it be after the conference championship games? I think it's going to depend on the college football playoff draw. Because, A, we don't know who from the ACC is going to go. If Duke wins the conference championship game, there's a very real possibility that the ACC won't have a team in. But if Virginia wins, it's a different story. What about Miami? Where does Miami end up? We'll see. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Let's take a look at the bowl game projections. There's a couple of them. ESPN's Mark Schlabach has Louisville playing in the Military Bowl against Navy in Annapolis on December 27th. Wouldn't hate that. I'd be interested to see how Louisville plays against that style. Historically, they haven't played great against it. I look back to 2021 when they played Air Force and they couldn't really stop anyone. But, hey, This is a different defense. ESPN's Kyle Bonagura says Duke's Mayo Bowl versus LSU on January 2nd. That's what I'm talking about. I would love to see Louisville play LSU. Not a big mayonnaise fan, but still wouldn't mind to see them play a Power 4 team. And I think, truthfully, with how rough that LSU offense is, that could be an opportunity for Louisville. CBS Sports' Jerry Palm has them playing in the Fenway Bowl against East Carolina on December 27th. I wouldn't hate it, but I would much rather not play against East Carolina. No disrespect to the Pirates, but just not for me. Athlon Sports, Duke's Mayo Bowl against Missouri. Yes, please, sign me up. This is one of those SEC teams that I would love to see Louisville play against. Please, please, please. College football news has Louisville back in the Sun Bowl against Arizona State on December 31st. That'd be a kind of interesting one, just because you're going up against one of the up-and-coming coaches in Kenny Dillingham. You've got some solid players on that team. That's a team that you don't play much. Like, I'm okay with playing a team that you don't play much. The one that I would like the most would be this one. Sports Illustrated has projected Louisville to play in the Pinstripe Bowl versus Penn State on December 27th. Think back a couple minutes ago, and you can tell why I would want Louisville to play Penn State. Jeff Brohm turns the Nittany Lions down. I would love for him to play them in a bowl game and defeat them. Now, Penn State has shown, even after James Franklin, that they can play top teams well, and it would be a good opportunity to see how Louisville plays against a team like that with a solid defense, not as great as maybe people thought, but still a solid defense, and an offense that has really good running backs. Now, here's the thing. When you're playing these games, who's going to opt out? Well, I don't think it's a matter of opting out for Louisville. It's more so who's going to be healthy enough. Chris Bell is projected to have surgery soon. He's not going to be available. Will Colin Lacey play? I'm not sure. He's been banged up. Will Isaac Brown play? I don't know. Duke Watson? I don't know. Kewan Brown? Again, this is going to shock you. I don't know. I would imagine Miller Moss plays in the bowl game. If he doesn't, I get it. I don't know why he wouldn't. But if Louisville wanted to go another game with Deuce Adams under center, I also wouldn't hate that, because you get an opportunity to kind of see what potentially could be in store for the future, even though I still think Louisville's going to the transfer portal to get a quarterback. So one of these games against Power 4 competition would be my hope. I was kind of hoping that that Louisville was going to land in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Pop-Tart Bowl plays it's an ACC team, isn't it? I know that for sure. It's an ACC team, and I'm not really sure off the top of my head, but okay, yes, it is the ACC, and it's also the Big 12, but it's the top non-college football playoff team from the ACC. So, of course, that's not going to be Louisville, which sucks, but I think the Pop-Tart Bowl is trying to re-energize the bowl games out there. But regardless, it's nice to see Louisville back in postseason play, and we will react to the bowl game announcement when we see it. But that's going to wrap up this Friday edition of the show. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you right back here on Monday.